What?
What's in the name, lady? Look, why y'all do this to me? What's in the name, Lady Q? That's my name, Lady Q. I can't figure it out, but I'm Lady Q. Guess who I got on here? Got Uncle Daryl, and I got the Hoodoo Hot Show. And don't you know the month of October is Hoodoo and Gullah Geechee month. So while we're actually doing this, I'm going to be doing preparing some of my lemongrass I'm still working on. So today is Sunday. What I want to talk about?
Okay, so before we got hop on camera, I was talking to my mother there, so I'm just finish the conversation, you know. I'm gonna keep it as easy as possible because I'm long and friendly.
I can't hear
Uh,
you.
You can't hear you.
you can hear us?
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, now I can hear you a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, let me tell y'all what happened to me because I did not believe this.
She's a teenager, y'all.
So, I'm at Upward Down, right?
Why are we talking about that right now?
This is probably a downside. You know, somebody was praying on my downfall, and the prayer went through. Somebody
She
was
said,
praying on my downfall, and the prayer went through.
she said what?
Somebody was praying on my downfall,
Somebody was
and the
praying for
prayer
your
went through.
downfall.
They was praying. They was praying on my downfall, and
The
the prayer
devil?
went through.
You know, she's just extra. Go ahead and tell us about it.
Okay, so it all started when I met women. You know, I mean,
We're going to talk about that on the show.
so I let this dude, obviously, you know, I top it up. I was trying to put my test skills on him, you
She
know.
claims she got something she was like, no.
I'm the
Said
best thing
what?
out here.
This is not what we advertise on my screen now. You gotta leave that alone.
We supposed to be chewing the fat, talking about topics.
Yeah, ain't talking about you.
I didn't do that.
Look.
Actually, for real, I'm actually biting this out of my teeth.
Let's talk about why you ain't watched my latest video.
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna watch that video. For those of you all out there, please make sure you go to YouTube and check out Uncle Daryl. Uncle Daryl and myself have been best friends for over 20 plus years, and he's the godfather of my children, including that one right there.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, she was talking to her Uncle Daryl, and she shouldn't have put that up on the stage. But she doesn't do anything
But she's a
anyhow.
free spirit.
Yes, she is like a mama, so I can't get mad.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So if I can't talk about me, what do I talk about?
You talk about something else. Why did I talk about you?
I make very good.
Yeah, you do. You got all them views.
Did y'all wash y'all's hands in salt today?
I
No,
did.
I should have, didn't
I
I?
watched my
Because I
hands
remember you
all the
telling me
time.
about that.
Yeah.
I did.
Ain't
I
your
watched my
sister
hands
washed it in
all the time.
that sea salt?
Yeah, honey. I'm going to watch the whole body insult to get that abundance and prosperity. Yes, honey.
Because I just saw a video today where a woman was talking about people throwing salt and cinnamon at their door, and she said they don't know what they're doing because those are two elements not supposed to be together. She said you throw
Absolutely.
cinnamon at your dough for abundance, but you don't be up there mixing it with salt.
No, you don't.
And
You
she
put the
broke down
salt in the
all the
corner.
different salts and what the salts mean.
And you put them in the different corners. You also bathe with it so that you can remove negative energy, but
Hmm.
also so it helps you get abundance if you put it on the right body part by which you just spoke about the hand. You want to make
Hmm.
sure that she brings in that money. Because at one point in time, depending upon what the um the ethnic group was, they traded salt like money, how we trade dollars and cents.
Hmm.
But also, like when you're around a lot of negative energy, a lot of people, it's always best to go and bathe in salt water
Hmm.
so you can get all of their stuff, the emptiness and stuff out the way.
Wow.
The other day we were talking to um It was some questions you asked. You wanna ask me about that too? Or
Oh yeah, I believe it was the other day we were talking. I did ask you some questions.
mhm.
Trying to remember what. Oh, I was asking you about the pumpkins.
Okay. So, everybody been asking me about the pumpkins. I had a bunch of people come over yesterday, and it was like, "Oh, your yard looks so amazing. What in the world is going on?" And I was telling them how it was raining the harvest. And so I recently did YouTube about table setting. And so right now I'm looking at it. So on my door, the trees and stuff that I love,
Oh
I
yeah.
have this for abundance, but I'm also giving food to some of the birds because you sow and you reap.
Mm.
So I'm sowing in to make sure someone else can eat so that I can eat or animal can eat. But with them pumpkins, I have pumpkins on my favorite sitting spot. And they're different colors, different size. Matter of fact, I got a pumpkin by the door, but a lot of people know them as a gourd. And it has a twisted long stem. Maybe I'll bring that about one day. But there's a reason why I have that there too. And it's not necessarily just for the abundance, but for protection as well. There's a lot of stuff that you can get at the produce section of your food store, or you can go to the farm and pick up. And the only reason why I know, because I grew up with a farm, as well as my daddy used to work in produce. So I've always had the abundance of food at my table, even when I didn't think about it or wanted it. So
Mm.
with the pumpkins yesterday, I had some people came in from Summerton, South Carolina, and he was like, okay, you got the three pumpkins over here, and then you got that one green pumpkin right there, then you got that white pumpkin over there, and then on your steps, you have a variety of pumpkins. I said, yeah, I got to show the pumpkins where I like to come in there, honey. And so it's a two-sided soul if you look at it. You bring in your harvest with abundance, but you got to be careful. A lot of people want to do spiritual work with pumpkins, and then you have a lot of domestic violence issues. For instance, the month of October is also Domestic Violence and Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Mm.
And a lot of times when people are getting into domestic disputes and or having some type of domestic altercation where they're losing their lives, chances are they could have been to a spiritualist where they decided that they did not want to leave that person alone and they didn't want that person to be able to leave them. Honeys, that is dangerous
Mm.
because you never know. Just like your taste for a change, what you're looking for may change too. And if you have done something where that person can't leave you and you try to leave them, y'all get into a little altercation. And then you got a domestic case follow suit. So a lot of times I know like with myself, I won't use any pumpkins and stuff because I want to have the freedom to change my
Mm-hmm.
mind, and I would like for my clients to do that as well. That pumpkin kind of pretty much seal that deal, almost like the candle. So, once that wax burns, you got to be really careful. That's almost like doing black magic. But that's another conversation for another day. Yes, ma'am.
I do have a theory about something a lot. I think because in real life, something takes a long time to dry.
A
So
long
that
time.
would be, I think that's why it would be ideal for if you were to set something in stone, a pumpkin, because it takes a long time to run. It'll rot completely. But for it to rot completely and break down completely, it takes a while.
And that's also teaching her compost, but that is very much so true. You got to be very, very careful when you're using pumpkins. When I use it, I'm thinking about money on my mind. I'm thinking about prosperity in my mind because prosperity is not necessarily about money. Sometimes your health is your wealth,
That's
you
true.
know. And a lot of
It's
times
true.
people forsake that. I want to be in good health. And pumpkins have abundance. Even though them seeds are real tough, even the outside casing is very tough. Even as you try to carve it, you got to go through a lot of stuff to really dissect a pumpkin, And so I keep the pumpkins around because even when you look at people who are living affluently. A lot of times they have pumpkins, just like the reefs. You remember we talked about that and how when you go in different neighborhoods, you see the reefs on the door, and a lot of times they're affluent neighborhoods because they're bringing in the wealth as well. So I got my corner, then I got my reefs up because that's an unbroken circle. Excuse me. I just gave another jewel. Shapes, symbols, and colors, and all of that matters.
And can we
So,
touch on the fact that, like with pumpkins, sometimes maybe that's the reason why people who are of other unmelanated cultures, so to speak, they love pumpkins. They love
hmm
pumpkins. And they have pumpkins all over the place during the fall time of the year. And,
absolutely,
do you think that that's something that has to do with maybe their knowledge and wisdom in their own culture about it? With this,
absolutely. Because just
because,
because
they
of
got it
voodoo,
from us, but still, we know they got it from us, but.
there's all kinds of things like the ATR. They deal with pumpkins as well. So it's just not a hoodoo tradition. It's just not a Halloween tradition. It's not just a fall harvest tradition within the Christian culture, but it's a tradition to bring in abundance. It's just like setting your table. It brings abundance. And even where I said it, I got little pumpkins of different shapes and sizes, different colors and what have you, because I want abundance in multiple ways, in multiple directions, and I just don't want that paper money. I want that Bitcoin money. Not only do I want that Bitcoin money, but I want that PayPal money. I
Oh,
want the cash
yes.
out money. I
All the
want that
monies,
whatever money.
all of the things.
Yeah, that Zelle
We
money.
want all of the things. We want all of the
All of it.
things.
But you know
Hey,
what? The thing
look.
I should have not have said, I should say, and I got that money on that cash app. I got that money on that Zelle. I got
Hmm.
that money in that PayPal. I got that money in that paper. I got that money in the coin. I got that money any kind of way you want to bring it.
Oh,
It's
yes.
going to open to prosperity.
The envelope, the bags are filled.
Yes,
The bags are
the
filled. The
basket.
mailboxes are filled with it.
Amen. It's just boom.
But guess what I thought about when you said about domestic violence, about the pumpkins?
Mm-hmm.
I thought about some people I knew growing up, though. These girls had these very attractive boyfriends and husbands. And I know
Mm-hmm.
two particular instances when girls looked at these guys' husband. One girl woman, she was married to this man who was actually younger than her. And he was
Mm-hmm.
very attractive. And this
Mm-hmm.
girl I knew in high school, she dealt with this guy who was very attractive. And he used to go pick up at school. They used to wear matching colors. He didn't go to our high school. And girls used to pick at her in high school. Let's say her name is Sarah. They'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, I'm going to take that man from you. She'd be like, go ahead. And I remember she used to say that all the time in high school and laugh it off. And we would never
Mm-hmm.
think nothing about it. But one day, one of Sarah's friends, she said that all of them as girls got together since they've been out of school 20 years and they were talking.
Mm-hmm.
They said, whatever happened to that boyfriend of yours, Sarah? Sarah said that wasn't what it was cracked up to be. So that man beat on me every day. And she said, and that's why I kept saying, whenever y'all would ask me, oh, I'm going to take that man from you, they said, she'd be like, go ahead, take him. Because she
Mm.
didn't, she was a little tired of him. But she always had like a happy go lucky type personality. You ever seen a
Mm-hmm.
person that even though they might be going through something like that, she was just happy go lucky. She just smiled all the time. And she had a
So
good, a good personality, but that was hiding the fact that that man was doing what he was doing. And this other
Mm.
lady, she worked with us on a job. Her husband was younger than her, and he was a nice looking guy. And one of the girls that worked with us, she said, I remember both of them coming into a business that I worked in. And I used to speak
Mm-hmm.
to her, and she used to always look at me mean, and I didn't know why. But they found out later, the lady said what it was, I couldn't really talk to anybody because he had me at a place where I couldn't speak for myself. I couldn't do anything, and he beat on me. And we were like,
Wow.
wow. But then
You
again, when
never
she
know
got
what
on
goes
our
on
job, that
behind
lady
that
was
door.
wild. That lady was wild. Aunt Mary's niece. She just split in the floor one day and split her pants. She was
Oh
something
man.
else. She was so funny. But
Mm.
it goes to show sometimes you can be around people every day and not know that they're victims of domestic violence. It's things that we don't know. And people hide
Absolutely.
behind smiles, and that was good that we talked about that issue and brought up
Mm-hmm.
domestic violence, month, because that's a real issue.
It's a very real issue. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you that while you're seeking love, be careful of the ingredients that you might use. Even in the thought process, you want to make sure to have a sober mind. You want to make sure that that individual that you want to love or that you love have a sober mind. Because there are so many people that are dealing with mental illnesses and so
Yeah.
forth, and you don't want to attract and keep something that's going to be a domestic violence situation just because of the fact that you just want a man or you want a woman. Because guess what? Even in same-sex relationships, especially when they're females, or I'm not really sure what the good terminology is, but basically two women. A lot of times, but lesbians.
Lesbians.
From what I've heard, there's a lot of fighting that goes on into
It
those
is.
situations too, because you're dealing with a lot of emotions. Now, I really couldn't speak to that, but I do welcome you all to still come and see me because I don't mind who you sleeping with. It don't make me no difference. I'm not getting ready to fight with you over there. I'm not getting ready to judge you over there because at the end of the day, people do what they want to do. I
Uh-huh.
can only tell you what I know, and if I don't know about something, I don't mind telling you I don't. But I
And
can find out who is and who do.
and all I can tell people is this though, you better watch them signs you see in the beginning. It's things
Mm-hmm.
people do and say. You don't think about it at the time, but after you out of a relationship, you think about it, that was a red flag. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember it was a person I was talking to a few months ago, and I had to cut that
Mm-hmm.
off cold turkey because that person showed me a side of them. I thought they had mental problems, but it showed up, and that thing reared its head big time. And
Who
it was
was it?
something simple that they asked me a question. They asked me a simple question,
Uh-huh.
and I told them the answer. I said, "Well, that's on such and such street. That's where you get to that place." No, it ain't. You don't know what you're talking about. You lie to me. You lie to me, and you continue to lie to me. I said, okay, it was nice seeing you today. Hope you have a great day. Bye bye.
You
And you
didn't
think
let
I
that he
thought
cut off? Just
I
like
wasn't
that.
playing with that? I didn't look. I learned my lessons over time. And guess what else I'm gonna tell y'all is a word of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You better watch these people that got pets. If you see them pets acting funny, whatever spirit's on that pet, that spirit's on the owner too.
We
I
always
went to
talking about
somebody.
that.
I went to somebody's house one time, and I promise you this happened. When I felt like I had can't help it, and I had to go get me something, went to this person's house.
You can't help it.
Couldn't help it.
Is that
Had
how
to
you
see
put
them.
it?
Look, like this pastor that
Okay.
came to our old church one time about Mary's niece. The pastor, she sit there and had
Uh-huh.
an altar call. She says, how many of y'all addicted to sex? Just can't help it. You
Was
gotta
that
have it.
Janice Lord?
Just can't help it. No, it was
Was that
what's
her?
called. It was that other woman,
Oh,
Cindy Trim.
oh, okay. Wow.
And she was laughing
I
about
was
it. She
that
said,
woman.
and then guess what she said? Just can't get enough.
Uh-huh.
Just can't get enough. Come on up to that. And that altar was full.
Oh,
In our old church, that altar was full.
And for those
Anyway,
of you all who don't
guess what
know, we
happened?
have been to three churches together, and so a lot of the stuff that we're gonna talk about is gonna talk about that. We also went to Roz. Lord knows that's a discussion in itself. But God bless her and rest in heaven. But even in our old church, there was so much wisdom in what they said. Our former pastor, which was a bishop, excuse me, bishop, when I went to one conference, I did not like what he said. He said, when you're with someone, you don't want them to just love you. You want them to be committed to you. I was like, that's kind of stupid, that dumb. But you know what? In my young age, it was stupid of me to say that that was dumb. Because now that I'm 42 years old, I know he had a whole lot of wisdom. And he was saying something back then that a lot of people don't know today because they want things in a microwave and they think love gonna be here. But what
Mm-mm.
happens when you don't love that person? What happens when you don't like that person?
Love
Yeah.
is a fickle history, y'all.
That's good.
Love is a fickle history. And so is faith. And so is karma. You gotta watch out for that type of thing.
And what happened when you go to that person's house and supposed to be meeting them for the first time? You see that dog outside. You looking up there, waiting for them to come back to the house, and then you look up
Mhm.
and see that dog being in the middle of a physical act with another dog, just going at it, going at it, going at it. And when I saw that, something in my mind said, "Oh, this is the F house. That's what this is." And lo
Oh
and
my
behold, I
goodness.
found out that was true. Oh, that was a sex
Hmm.
house. So that's what that person was into.
Wow.
And I believe that God allowed me to see that with that doggone dog. And it was the weirdest thing though, because now I notice sometimes now when I interact with other people's animals, sometimes I can
Hmm.
talk to them and the animals will react back to me. They know exactly what I'm saying to them. And like the
Wow.
dog that was doing this to their dog, and both the dogs were male. And the dog that was doing this, the next door neighbor's dog, the dog kept trying to follow me into the person's house. I said, "You can't come in the house." Take a dog, and it was like a pit bull, and doing like, look, and
I didn't
I
say
said,
this
"You can't
person.
come
You
in
know
here."
how
I said, "Oh God!" And I told the person about that dog. I said, "Your dog was getting it." I said, "Son, you want to tell me your dog was taking it?" And so when I look at people's dogs, if that dog mean, they mean. I don't make no differences about that. You know, some white people be walking these dogs. I hate to just say it point blank, but these white people be walking these dogs, and them dogs be racist, and they don't like black people. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You
And you
always
know,
been
and
talking
that's
about that.
them. And they try to say, well, the dog is just no, baby. The dog ain't just sensitive. That dog is just like you. You
Mm-mm.
might have a smile on your face saying, "Hey, I know what the deal is. That dog is just like you."
That's a reflection of the old people.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're empaths.
Yeah, that was a good point. But you know,
What?
y'all are actually making me think that she said pets are empaths. Because think about it, dog is a man best friend.
They are.
So I can see that. But y'all made me think that when I was in high school, my mama made me babysit this little girl. I did not want to babysit her, but because she was a coworker of my mom, I had
Yeah.
to. And this little girl, she was a little late. She was less than a year old. But the thing about her, she was color struck. That's what they called back in the day.
Uh-oh.
And so, but her dad was black and her mom was white. But if you was a dark shade of black, that girl wasn't letting go with you. She would cry and cry. They had to get different babysitters. But and I'm not even that all light. But thankfully she took to me. But I tell you what, I don't know why my mom made me do that. Rest in heaven. But I just remember that was a time and a half with that young lady, and I think it had, and I can still remember. And I was 17 years old. I can still remember her name. But I remember I had to babysit her, and I didn't want to do it, y'all, because she was really color struck. And I was like, now you're biracial, and you don't like a certain complexion of people. That just blew my mind.
And you know what? That's another issue that I don't think that we've never really dealt with is the Willie Lynch letter and how much that
Hmm.
one book or that one piece of literature affected us as a whole race. You know, we're
Yes,
still
it
reeling
did.
from that today. And I don't even
Hmm.
believe that some people in other cultures, Hispanic cultures, the Middle Eastern cultures, the people over in Asia, they don't even
Hmm.
realize how much even that mess is affecting them. Because guess what? I know people who are
Hmm.
Korean and Asian, they have told me they said, Daryl, I'm accepted over here in America. They said, I go back to my country, my skin is too dark. And they
Mm.
want us to be pale
Super
white like a
bad.
piece of paper. I
Remember
said, you
that?
make no
The
sense.
super
No.
bad
The
shit.
more you look like white people, the better you're accepted. And they think you're wealthier. I said,
Mm.
whoa. And I even
Wow.
saw, remember Mississippi Masala with Denzel Washington when they showed the Indian girl's
Yeah.
family getting married? And that
Yeah,
girl
I
said,
love that
she's
movie.
married a man, he's dark, but he's wealthy. I went,
Hmm.
what? And they were all Indian. And I was like, he's dark, but he's wealthy. And I said, that messes all over the world, ain't it?
Hmm.
And it's a sad shame because people think in their mind, oh, white is right. Because I got a relative right now. They're a little bit old school. And they say they don't like dark skinned people because they said when they were younger, someone dark skinned betrayed them, and they said dark skinned people always treat me mean. But I'm like, but that relative, guess what, Aunt Mary's niece, she your
Mhm.
complexion. And she's saying dark skinned people then betrayed her. I'm like, you betraying yourself. I'm
Wow.
confused. I'm very confused.
You know what? You're right. Because
You better not do it.
No,
am
baby.
I gonna am I
No,
gonna
baby.
talk about
No.
You better not do it.
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
You better not do it.
No.
I know you want to go there. You leave it
You done
alone.
got Willie lynched. Willie
Yeah.
lynched and got you too.
You better
No,
not
no, it didn't get me. I promise. No, that's not. I'm talking about my generation, not this.
do it. Okay.
Okay. So in my
Willie lynched and
generation,
got you too.
none of these get me on colors. I date people of all colors, Christian. I'm not colors at all.
Yes, she still lying.
I'm not
Willie
colors.
lynched and got you too.
No, I'm not colors. I promise.
Mm-mm. But that's not what I thought she was going to say.
Oh Lord.
Woo! Tragic. I thought she was going to tell on me.
Ain't it funny when you don't know what your little nieces and nephews gonna say?
I
It's
thought she was
halfway
going to
funny,
do
halfway not.
because I can say I'm guilty of this right here. I remember before I had children, I wanted to have all dark skin children, and I want to have all boys. Because
Oh
them boys
wow.
don't take them babies home. And I was like, Daryl. And then, I had the reverse. I had one dark skinned son, and then I had the rainbow, thankfully, of children complexion, but all girls. And
Hmm.
I said, Lord, Jesus. And when I'm telling this on the line, but it's okay. I can hold my own. It's my truth.
Mm.
But you know what? One of the things I'm glad that I kind of got away from that. But because of the fact that I'm sitting now, when I look at movies, there's not really a great representation of women who look like me. They either want them to be biracial or light skinned. And I'm so grateful to a South Carolinian, Viola Davis, who's representing us. Natural hair and all, and with weaves and what have you. But just think about all the things that she has had to go through, just to be seen. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm
Well, let's
grateful
talk
that
about how South Carolina did Eartha Kitt.
I was hoping that both of them from St. Matthews was down the street from me now. And I actually lived in St. Matthews real briefly, so
Because the way she said they did her,
I'm
her
hoping
mama
for the
married that
order.
new man, and he said he didn't want no yellow, you know what's in his house. I said, Lord, that was hurtful.
Hmm.
So when she got to New York with her other relatives, that was her break.
Yeah, but now if she was still living, she would have been really welcome because if you look at the movies today, like I was saying, there's really no good representation of the real rainbow. You have to be a lot of light or either light or dark. Um, but one of the things, we talked about, I think on yesterday or the day before, the different world actually showed us all hues of African American people as well as Spike Lee movies, and it showed us how sometimes we can get when we're being colorist, as you like to say.
Well, that's the reason why. That's sort of why I have the Chocolate Mirrors project that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up basically as a child of the South.
Mm-hmm.
You go into department stores, we had realistic mannequins back then when you went in belt stores and stuff like that. And when you
Mm-hmm.
look back at it, think about it, Aunt Mary's niece, you never saw
Mm-hmm.
black mannequins. And when
You
you
only told
saw
me about my legal
one,
name, didn't you?
huh?
I said you probably always tell me about my legal name, but it's okay. You can
And
call
it's
me that
funny
or
because I think about it that way. And I also think about this, y'all. When I looked at
mm-hmm.
TV shows, I noticed the little slight colorism with the way that they did black characters. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times they would never give a black character a lot of shine unless they were lighter. And then Beyonce's dad brought it up. He says he feels like had she not been light, her career wouldn't have went nowhere.
Oh wow.
And then a lot of other celebrities agreed with that. A lot of them that were darker, they mentioned that. They said it is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ugly the way they do Hollywood and the way they do all this, but really, that was the reason why I started the chocolate mirrors project. It's
Hey, we
because
got
I
to
want,
do a shout out
huh,
real quick. And not to cut you off, but your place is 721 says hello to us.
huh,
Hey, glad you're back.
huh.
We got a viewer that
It's
says hello to
echoing.
us. Okay, is it echoing now?
It sounds like it's like a robot sound.
Okay, I don't know what happened.
And
Okay, is
hello,
that
your pleasure. Nice to see you.
721?
It's
But you
still
were
making
saying
that
about,
echo.
okay, it might be because, I don't know what has happened. Okay, who do I go? Can you
Hello?
hear?
I can hear
Okay,
you
can you
better
hear us
now.
now?
I can hear
Okay,
you.
we didn't do anything, so I don't know.
Oh wow. But when I think about, like the way, like a friend of mine now that's in the mannequin collecting community, they
Hmm.
like to get mannequins for their store, but they like to paint them all light skin. And he's dark brown skin like I am. And I'm like, what is the issue here? Because
Hmm.
I'm like, that's a part of not loving who you are too. And guess what we found out? Guess what I found out just recently, Aunt Mary's niece and Larissa?
What happened?
Oh, you're welcome. I found out also the episode of A Different World that dealt with the mammy figures, the Black Americana, where Whitley brought her
Hmm.
collection of a Black Americana and wanted to exhibit it for Black History Month, and Kimberly Reese went
Hmm.
off on her. That
Hmm.
episode was called Mammy Dearest. It was written by a
Man,
white
dear.
man. I can't hear you.
You said mammy dear?
Yes, where Kimberly Reese didn't like those mammy figures. The name of the episode of A Different World is called Mammy Dearest. You can probably look it up on YouTube.
You
But
not
it was,
here?
but guess what? With that
Hmm.
episode, a white man wrote it. And they said that when they were filming it, Debbie Allen said that was probably one of the most controversial episodes they ever did in A Different World history. They says when
Hmm.
we did the table read for that whole episode, everybody was
Hmm.
quiet. Nobody didn't say a word. They were just like they had a reaction with it. Then when they put
Hmm.
Freddie, the girl that played Freddie, they
Yeah.
put her in dark face for that scene at the end when she had to do that little song with Kimberly Reese. And
I
she said,
remember
I don't
that.
like it, huh?
I remember that.
And she said, and she told the people on the set, she said, I don't like this. And they said to Charnel Brown, who played Kimberly, she says, what about it don't you like? She said, I have to wear this black skin every day. I said, whoa, I did not know it
Whoa.
caused that many wavelengths behind the scenes.
Wow.
And and like I posted something about Black Americana on Facebook
Hmm.
about it's been about almost a month ago now, and it
Hmm.
caused controversy because one of my friends in college, she said her mother was originally from South Carolina. She sold Black
Hmm.
Americana, and
Hmm.
everybody I had a conversation about it who collected it, they said really it's only bad if white people own it. If white people have it in their houses, it's bad. If black people have it, it's us claiming our heritage.
Hmm.
But even with that, I'm still like, I think if I had to go back in the past and talk to my ancestors, probably, and
Hmm.
ask them, hey, do you like being dressed up like this? They probably said, no. If you gave them a choice to dress like some of them white people, they would. I want to wear satin and silks too.
Yeah.
They probably would love to wear some of the stuff them white people had. So
Hmm.
when I look at it that way, I found a cookie jar. Everybody had the Aunt Jemima cookie jar.
I
Oh, I
love
found
my
the
cookie
cookie jar
jar.
of Josephine Baker. Because guess what? That
Hmm.
help was about that money. And
I
I
know that's
love the
right.
fact, and look, she was a millionaire in the middle of the Great Depression.
Hmm.
And then she influenced art and all kinds of stuff. The woman had her own castle.
Wow.
Yes, when I watch that movie over again, I still say, why did she adopt them doggone kids? She could have lived a happy life by herself. Because I would have been happy. I would have been caring about that little. And they said them kids caused her a lot of bad health issues because she was working so hard to try to make a whole, race of children who didn't know racism. And the kids still were
Mhm.
racist amongst themselves.
Wow.
And it
They say
caused her
that,
to have a heart attack.
the racism is taught. It's
Yeah.
not something that you're born with. But I
Well,
don't know.
she said she raised them not to, but
What you say, Hoodoo Hot
I
Dog?
think that, well, I think I agree. It is hard. People gotta remember that most of them are adopted. And most of them weren't babies when they were adopted. They were about my age, or like maybe Benson's age. And you guys about 2 years old. So, you understand things about their blind age. So, they could have been racist before they got adopted by those two makers. And those two makers could have had their own sexual racism. Because again, what you end up running from is what you see. You can end up running from racism and trying to stop it and still bring it towards you. I think of everybody who has, every huge person in the black community running, fighting racism, just for racism to come back again. Every last one of them.
Now I got a question for you.
What's
I'm looking
that?
at time at 4:56, and we had an agreement because we got to be somewhere at 5 o'clock. Do you
Yeah.
want to continue, or you want to chop it up another day?
I'm gonna get ready to go. I might do something with y'all a little bit later on if that's okay.
Oh, that's always okay. We always talking.
Okay.
So,
'Cause knowing me, it's gonna be a short walk. It ain't gonna be nothing long or expansive.
okay. I gotta go get my stuff anyway. So, um, and we got
But
some
I've
heart.
enjoyed both of y'all, and especially Larissa.
Everybody say she to be on here with me. I keep trying to tell her this what I need her help because she does a great job when
She
it comes to
does do a
social
great
media.
job.
And everybody, you know what? This is my daughter who do her show, but she has her own
Channel,
channel.
and Instagram, y'all see the views. Y'all see me. Y'all see me.
Yeah, she's a natural. Go ahead and tell me what your channel name.
My channel name is Super First.
And I keep telling her to change that. She don't
And she's
listen to
in
me.
college. And she's in college.
And I've been talking about 14, y'all. So I
Hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
started doing videos because honestly, all about time that I started taking back what I said I was going to do. So now I'm stepping into what I was related to. And on Instagram, I have collectively over 12,000 views.
Oh yeah.
So,
I gotta
I'm
go.
just doing
Okay,
yeah,
see you later on the
All
bell.
right, talk to y'all later.
All right, much peace and blessings. Thank you. So everybody, we're gonna have to go too because I had to go pick up my youngest daughter. Unless you just want to talk to her for a little bit, but I really need to go pick her up. And so it has been a great dialogue. I thank you for hanging out and being with us as we chop it up and chew the fat. And we're gonna come back hopefully on today. And so once we do that, please be sure to join us. As always, what's my name? I'm Lady Q.
who my show, you already know what's going on. All the Instagram at is that version.
And you can also follow me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube as Aunt Mary's Lee, known as Lady Q.
And I will open my comments so for you.
Okay, she will. She said she will definitely do that. All right, thank
Thank
y'all.
you. Just like and share my videos, comment, like, subscribe, follow. Peace.